Throughout Ninjago, we have received many villains. After all, the show has been going for 9 seasons, and each season does introduce a new villain. But how do these villains rank? Hey guys, Hfmasters here, and today I'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 villains. Now before I would begin, I would like to address that Chen will not be on my list. For those of you who don't know why, I'll summarize it briefly. Chen is not a good character mainly because he doesn't do things, but instead has others do things for him. If you want to hear more, I have a video on my channel called Basically Chen that elaborates on this topic in a very less serious way. Also, if you can't handle that Chen won't be on my list, then just leave the video. For those who respect my opinion, thank you, and let's move on to the list. At number 10 we have Klaus. As I've said many times before, Klaus has the potential to be a very powerful character. We've seen a little of what he can do with magic. Of course, as we all know though, Klaus does take a backseat to Chen, and he does get trapped in the cursed realm. However, there is still potential for him. As we know in Season 6, he escapes the cursed realm, and while we don't know the fate of him, it is possible we could see him return. Overall, he is an interesting character, but extremely undeveloped, which is why we keep him at the number 10 spot. Moving on, we have Sensei Yang. Sensei Yang did get more time to shine than Klaus, however I would say he is underdeveloped as well. He was able to turn Cole into a ghost in Season 5, and in Day of the Departed he was able to make the other ninja forget about him. So while he may be powerless, he is definitely smart. We also do know that he created air jutsu, and it would be nice to learn more about how he did that. Lastly, we do know that he is now converted to the side of the ninja, so we most likely never will get to learn more about him. Overall, a cool character, but once again, undeveloped. Moving on, we have General Krypter. Krypter can be argued as one of the best side villains. Krypter is interesting as he struggles specifically with Zane. Krypter also does give the ninja a lot of trouble, and is able to beat them in several occasions. Of course, Krypter has his flaws. First off, he had an extremely lame defeat, as he was fighting against Minjoid, and then got destroyed by Zane after Zane destroyed the Overlord. Secondly, he doesn't get a lot of time to develop, as he takes orders from both Pythor and the Overlord. Overall, an interesting character, but just doesn't have enough time to be fully developed. The Time Twins. These two are quite interesting and different characters. First off, they are the only twins we have met in Ninjago. Secondly, they are the only characters who actually forcibly lost their power. Of course, those two still are pretty powerful, and they show off their great fighting skills many times as they're able to beat the ninja on multiple occasions. They also had a very well hatched plan using the Vermilion Warriors and Blacksmiths to create the Dawn of Iron Doom. However, even still, they were supposedly defeated and lost in time, and not only that, but they had a pretty lame defeat. Overall though, they were pretty cool characters, but not really well developed. Just barely missing our top 5 is Harumi. Harumi is definitely one of the most deceptive villains on this list. She is also quite emotionless, killing the royal family for her cause. Harumi does have her issues though. First off, she isn't exactly a strong villain. She is only able to succeed through deception and the use of the Oni masks. Secondly, she doesn't have the loyalty to stay on a side, as we see her turn when she's about to die. It's almost like there's an internal conflict in her the entire time. Sometimes she's completely ruthless and other times she's scared. An interesting character, but it just doesn't really work well for a villain. Moving into the top 5, we have Pythor. Pythor was a major character in the first few seasons of Ninjago, but hasn't shown up in most of the more recent seasons. Of course, when he was around, he was quite a threat. We know that he's the only surviving Anachondrite because he presumably ate the rest of them. While he may not be as harsh as some of the other villains on this list, he's definitely smart and powerful. He was able to successfully lead the Serpentine into freeing the Great Devourer, however that didn't work out so well for him. He also did help the Overlord in Season 3, and I must say, he was more courageous by taking the pill for the Overlord. However, while Pythor is a great and classic character, he just can't compete with some of the others on this list. Moro is another villain that is quite good and one we like. This character is also very different as he has somewhat of a tragic life and comes back for revenge. Now personally, while I'm not a fan of why he wants revenge, I do like how skilled he is. He shows no mercy to the ninja or Wu. He is also able to take Overlord's body, and he uses that to his full advantage. Not only that, but he is also able to contain Lloyd from taking back control of himself. We also do get to see Moro develop in ways that no other villains have. We see him go from ruthless to caring, and at his death he finally turns good. I personally really like this turn. I think it works much better than Harumi's, and overall it makes Moro a really good villain. Moving into our top 3, we have Notakon. As you all know, I'm quite fond of Notakon. While he may not be the ruthless, brutal character some are, he has his own charm and it works super well. It's very clear Notakon is smart, perhaps the smartest villain we've ever seen. One by one he takes down the ninja. Well, technically, the ninja take down themselves. After all, Notakon has you wish yourself away. Notakon also shows no limits or no love, as he has no problem harming Pixel, and certainly has no problem dumping his crew after he receives the infinite wishes. Overall, the character is one I personally like, but he isn't near the level the next two are at. At number 2, we have Garmadon. Now, Garmadon in the earlier seasons wasn't much of a threat. He really only had good fighting skills, but he didn't really have much of his own power. And in turn, he was completely overtaken by the Overlord in Season 2. However, in Season 8 and 9, we get to see a new, more powerful Garmadon. Garmadon is shown very brutal and merciless, like killing Mr. E and almost killing Harumi. Of course, this does change throughout the season, as he adopts Harumi as his daughter and then becomes emotional after losing Harumi. Garmadon also doesn't keep a strong grasp on the city, as the people do not submit to him, but instead rise against him. Overall, though, Garmadon is definitely a good villain, but there's still one better. Of course, at number 1 we have the Overlord. Take everything wrong with Garmadon and fix it, and you'll get the Overlord. The Overlord is a very cruel character and shows no mercy for anyone except for those who assist him. He has also been extremely successful, taking over Ninjago not once but twice. Of course, though, while the Overlord is awesome, he was defeated, but even then he was brought back. When he was brought back, though, I do think he was somewhat worse. However, he did have the power of the first Hfmasters, so that was interesting. Of course, though, he was defeated that time for good. Perhaps we might see him return, but as of right now, he won't. And with that, that wraps up our video. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and please comment below what you guys thought or your own list. And until next time, this is Hfmasters, saying goodbye.